Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beyond Extend podcast. And we're here today with a surprise guest, William. I think we did this joke
Oh,
last time.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, it's a good way to start the new year, right? Even though we're recording this in the last year still.
Yes.
Uh, but it's
So we
good,
don't
man.
if something horrible happened in the last or in the next couple days, then we don't know yet.
Yeah, and also people are not going to hear this, right? If something happens in the next couple of days. Well, it depends
Oh,
if we get this recorded and edited.
yeah, 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 yeah. I was more like, if there's another crazy event like we have had so many in 2020, if there's one more and then don't yeah, that's the reason why we're not talking about it because we're still
Yeah,
we're
don't
still in
jinx
the
it.
past. You were in the future.
Yeah, also don't jinx it, man. Come on. I
Ah,
hadn't I had enough shit into in
yeah.
2020.
Yeah. I don't know if you can even jinx it anymore. It's bound to get better at some point, right? Wink, wink.
So, uh on that note. Oh man. I mean it can no, I'm not gonna go there. Not gonna go there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
For this episode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a little bit off the cuff episode, right? So we thought about just doing like a yearly recap of like 2020, and then maybe even going into like our goals for 2021. Like it could
Yeah.
be personal and like beyond extent and all that stuff. So yeah, man, where should we begin? Like, well, where do you want to begin? Like 2020, what was one of your, uh, I don't know. I don't know if personal highlights is like a good way of calling it, but
Is applicable.
but yeah, maybe we could start
um
there.
oh man, that is a good question. It's been definitely some ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that. Um Yeah, I mean, there was some good stuff. I mean, I felt I did some classes, for my old university. That felt really good, coming kind of, I mean, not physically coming back there, but coming back there in some way as a teacher. That was
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. That felt really rewarding, just, being like, okay, I guess I'm at the point where I can teach someone something. Um, that felt nice. That was kind of a highlight. I mean, I also lost a lot of weight, so that's something that I'm excited about, and I kind of want to, I want to keep pushing that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, man, that's awesome.
so yeah, I mean, there was some good stuff in there, here and there, let's say, but overall, it was definitely a challenging. Let's call it a challenging year.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's just gonna be like a blanket statement for everyone. Like,
Yep.
and to be honest, I think we said this before, right? We're lucky that we're still in an industry that's just chugging
Oh
along
man.
fine, even though
Yeah.
we're just like at home, and that's like the only thing that really changed. Obviously, there's like mental health considerations for a lot of people that can't really adapt to that situation for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not
But we
it's
have
not
it.
like
We have it real good. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, oh man, yeah. What about those classes? Like you, how many did you do in the end?
It ended up so I there was some stuff with the whole like management and logistics of it that kind of I don't know that I didn't love so much. So I only did the first two, and then they
Mm,
asked me to come back, but I was like, I don't know if because it was the whole the yeah the whole setting it up was kind of a little bit all over the place, and then also because it's not like I'm not there representing Ubisoft or anything. I'm there representing myself, so that means I still need to take vacation days, and I didn't. I
oh,
felt like I
okay.
couldn't. Yeah, I needed those vacation days for myself. I couldn't take them for another job, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did 2 days of like I think 6 hours or 8 hours. I don't know. And yeah, and just talked about some basic environment modeling techniques and stuff like that.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. I've been thinking about that stuff myself, but I don't know. There's always this barrier between uh I don't know. Well, you didn't do them physically too, right? But like
Yeah.
when I think about that stuff, and when it comes to actual like physically giving classes, there's still like a barrier, even though I I don't do it like 100% the same way online with like Twitch and all that stuff. But I don't know. It still feels different to me.
I mean, yeah, I guess standing in front of a class is like another set of skills that you need, right?
Hmm.
It's like you don't only need to know about stuff, you also need to. I mean, I guess that's the thing with all teaching. You first of all you need to be able to kind of, yeah, formulate your thoughts and then make them into something that's easy to understand, even if you're
Hmm.
talking about something complex. But then if you're in that physical teaching environment, I guess it's even more so that you need to be, yeah, able to. I guess it's yeah, I guess it's a way of public speaking, right? It's just kind of, you need to be good at public speaking. You need to be maybe a little more comfortable with like standing in front of, like, not a crowd, but a lot of people.
Hmm.
So, and the way we did it was definitely a little bit more, for me personally, it was easier just because, yeah, I'm just doing it through like I think we did like a Zoom thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit more impersonal, if you
Yeah,
wanna
definitely.
say it like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a little bit more. I was removed from the whole thing a little bit more.
yeah. All the eyeballs just looking at you physically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely something else.
Hmm. Yeah, I would still be. Well, we're gonna get to this point later, right? But that would still be something that I wanna at least try at some point if given the chance. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm always still pretty fearful when it comes to just the thought of just standing in front of the class. Like I was never really good at like public speaking or like when you had to do a presentation in front of class, right? It was always something that gave me anxiety. It was just like, oh, don't read it like this. But
yeah. For me too. I guess it was. I do remember that one time in English class where I had to make some kind of presentation, and I looked at my hands, and they were like, you know how they get when you have, like, I guess when there's not like the when the blood supply is kind of not working right, and it's like you get like these little, your hand gets like pale and spotty. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
just
looking at my hands then, and I was like, oh god, I guess I'm nervous.
yep.
I was
It's
like
just
in
the
eighth
fucking
grade or
stress getting
something.
to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then also like turning red as a tomato, like especially in the beginning moments.
Hmm.
Oh man, I can still feel that though when I had to stand in front of like a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh
Wait,
man. And also, we had when we were still in the studio. There was some presentations that sometimes we had to give.
I was just gonna bring that up too.
Oh yeah, and sometimes they're like, you're the new guy, you do it. It's kind of like a rite of passage, I guess.
Yep.
Oh man, and that was really rough because it was like in front of, I don't know, a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
especially when you're like a newcomer inside of the studio, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh yeah, go and quickly introduce yourself, and no one ever mentioned that this was gonna happen to you anyway. And it's
yeah,
like you have to go up there and just tell a little bit about yourself and stand
yeah,
in front of like 150 people. It's like, oh no.
yeah. I mean, it's a good kind of introduction thing, right? Because it makes you
Yeah.
come out of your shell and stuff. But yeah, it was that was definitely daunting.
Yeah, it is like you said, it's like a rite of passage, right? Where
Yeah,
you know that everyone went through it, even though there's a couple of people that managed to dodge the bullet, and I was one of them.
nice.
I don't know how it happened, like, because I think I just was out for the day that they did the presentations, and it
Oh,
wasn't pre-planned or anything. I think I was looking for an apartment back then, and just like, oh, I missed that. Oh, that's a shame.
right.
But that's awesome, then. That's awesome. So, are you thinking about more teaching stuff in the next year, or?
I guess it depends in what kind of capacity. Um, it's in general something that I can see myself doing more. But yeah, if I like, it would have to be in some kind of way where it doesn't mean that I have to like take vacation days, or and do like extra stuff kind of in my free time. Like if I could incorporate it more into something that like I don't know if there like I was supposed to do um like a day at work teaching some children something, but then it fell through because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Um so yeah, like something like that I could see like where if I can do that for work. But yeah, I don't know how much time I will be willing to give from my own.
hmm Yeah, because it is something completely different when you have to take like a holiday, right? And
Yeah.
that is like a pretty you can see it as a pretty big sacrifice, especially if you only have like what is it, like 25 of those days? Well,
Yeah, yeah, a
only
little bit
quote
more.
unquote, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the thing is also, you need to prepare the classes as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's what I thoroughly underestimated. If we're talking about like 2020 in review, right? When I think in the middle of 2020, I was thinking about doing tutorials. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, look, let's start pretty small with something that I'm really comfortable with, and it's just like a tutorial about how to make grass on Unreal Engine. And just the amount of time you spend on like iterating and like figuring out like a good way of recording and then editing and then all that stuff, like all the preparation that you just talked about for classes too. Like I thoroughly underestimated that.
Yeah.
And it's just like so much time crawls into that. And eventually that's also, especially when it came to the editing, I was so overwhelmed by it that I ended up just not doing it. So it's not a personal highlight. I'd say it's more like a what is it, like a personal low point of the year. I wouldn't really call it a
Hmm.
low point either, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something that I want to fix in 2021. Like just at least figure out how to make like a tutorial here and there.
Right.
But yeah, for like a personal highlight for 2020,
Not
in a
easy.
in a weird way, it's working from home for me. I think a lot of
Um,
people can't really get used to it or they had issues adapting to it. But for me, it was like really, really interesting to see how how this stuff works and just how I would feel basically testing what it would be to freelance, right? Because
hmm.
I'm thinking about that for like a really long time. And I still don't know when I'm going to take the step, right? Or if I'm going to take the step. But I don't know. It just gave me insight into what it takes and like the mental switching off and on between work and non-work and how to balance that.
Yeah.
I would kind of say that that is like a personal highlight because I'm definitely way more prepared for what I'm planning to do in the future with this now. Now that I've sort of did like a trial run of it basically.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I've been loving it. Like especially with cutting down on the commute time, which is like a really big one for me because it takes me like an hour to get to work and then an hour back. And just really being able to use those 2 hours like efficiently is pretty it's like a pretty big game changer when it comes to just doing more personal work, for example, or anything like that. So
Yeah.
you
I
were gonna say
mean,
something? Yeah.
yeah, it's for me, it's definitely like I have to say, I really enjoy working from home as well. For me, the commute is only 15 minutes, but still, it's like half an hour you save every day, and then, some stuff on top as well, because there's you can manage your time a little bit differently, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been surprising. It's been very surprising for me how much I enjoy it, because even though there is some stuff that I definitely miss, obviously, like just having the ability to talk to people, and just have like, instead of setting up a Teams meeting or whatever, you can just go over to their desk,
Yeah.
and everything is a little bit quicker in that regard, but also that means you have to work a little bit more independently, figure out stuff on your own. And yeah, it's that there's for me personally, it's been great as well. I like that part of it. Um, so yeah, I wonder if like how a lot of other people in our studio or in general feel about it. If
Mhm.
there's like a 50-50 split, or if most people like it, because there's definitely been a lot of talks, right, about how it's gonna go in the future after COVID. Like we've seen, I think Square Enix say that everybody will be able to work from home in the future as well, which is a
Yeah.
huge step.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there are other companies, right? Like non-game companies. I think Facebook and Google are doing the same thing. I don't know
Mm,
if they're both doing it, but like there are definitely companies coming out and being like, okay, this kind of works actually. We didn't expect it. Because before I think all the companies were just scared to test it
yeah,
because they were always concerned about like the productivity of the people working. That was like the big thing that a lot of companies were concerned about.
yeah,
But now that we did like this kind of trial run, I think it's proven that it can even be more productive for some people.
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's a good point because I do also think that there's definitely people in our studio that are way more comfortable just coming into work and then just leaving it behind when they need to, right? Like that sort of clear separation and the clear boundaries of like this is work, this is personal life.
That is, yeah, that's definitely something that is can be hard. I've had some days where yeah, it's hard to kind of switch to, I don't know, free time mode, switch
Yeah.
to leisure mode, just because yeah, you're, at least in my case, I'm sitting at the same desk in the same room. My apartment's not that big that I can go into another room and be like, this is my work room or something. So
Yep.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's yeah, it definitely it can blend into each other and kind of yeah
Yeah,
blur.
that's actually another lesson that I took from this is that if I wanted to go down this route, I would prefer to have like an extra room, like you said, to just have like a little office or something.
Yeah.
Because I think that definitely helps. Because on the flip side, what I'm realizing now is that I might spend way too much time behind my PC because
Mm.
it is so easy. I enjoy it so much just working on personal work that when like my normal day when I was at work was just like wake up, um work the entire day until like what is it, like 5 or 6 is, and then we would have dinner. I would probably take a shower or something, and then I would just get back to personal work until I go to sleep, something like that.
Right.
And I I would never really do that with like the commute and all that stuff. I would need like a bigger time to like wind down and to like actually make the switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious. Like there's also like just the the mental health issue. Like not really an issue on my side, but where I realize that sometimes I'm just doing too much and
Mm.
that I need like a break at the end of the day or I need to go for a walk because I just really need it. Um So yeah, that's something that I learned as well with whole that entire situation.
Yeah,
Because
it's definitely, you need to get some kind of balance.
yeah, because like talking about that stuff and taking too much on my plate. If we look at like 2020, like what happened, like especially from my side, right? Like if you want to dig into that, um, like we started this podcast. That was like one thing, right?
Yeah.
And when did we start it? Do you remember?
Oof. That's a good question. I guess it would have been in like in the summer, right? Was it in summer or in like, I don't
I
know.
th-
When would
I
the
I don't know. It feels like we should know this, right?
Yeah, I guess it should.
Like let's actually quickly look it up.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
doing it. I'm doing it right now.
12
Uh,
May we published our first
uh,
episode.
May. Okay. Interesting.
So awesome. We need to keep that in mind for like our first year episode.
True, true, true. Definitely.
But yeah, this entire thing has been really fun to do, actually. Like in the beginning, especially like looking at what kind of format we were gonna do, and like all the discussions that we had about like which direction we want to go in.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting because I know that I mean, for full transparency, right? Like there's nothing bad to discuss here, but I was always like more set into like more what you call it, like goal oriented or like purpose driven kind of
Yeah.
content, where you were more about like, look, let's just get together and basically do what we wanted to do with the podcast in the beginning, because we started this podcast as a way of just, we would have these calls on Friday anyway, and we would talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
So we kind of were like at some point just talking to each other and being like, why don't we record this and just put it online?
Yeah.
So it kind of grew out of that, right? Which was
Yeah.
pretty
Exactly. It
interesting.
was. Yeah. There was like you said, it was kind of you were thinking more about it as like a means to an end, like to talk about something, to get some information
Yep.
out there. And while yeah, I was more like, I guess I was thinking more about what we're doing right now, which is yeah, just the way that I listen to my podcast that I listen to is just just a couple of people talking about something that I enjoy, whether it be in a lot of the cases for me something like comedy, or in this case our job is 3D. Like we I feel like, I mean, I hope that's what people want. I feel like that's what I like to do, having more of a conversational thing instead of um, more of a from one point to the next kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
having it super structured. And then because yeah, in the end, of the editing, we can still have like a structure, so we're able to, like still have it's not all over the place. People can still find maybe something that they're looking for if they're looking for one specific part of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And I think, well, we're still sort of figuring out like the process itself, right?
Mm.
But we're definitely getting way closer than we were in the beginning, just by just trial and error and like experimenting with stuff. And yeah, it's been really fun, man. Really fun to work on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's been something that yeah, I didn't know that I wanted to do, but yeah, it ended up being really fun.
yeah, it's I didn't really expect it to be what you call it, like this. It's sort of cathartic in a way, where it's just nice to have like a little recap or like a little talk like every 2 weeks now, and just
Yeah,
discuss stuff and like discuss things that we want to talk about.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, if we're talking about the podcast anyway, do we have like a favorite episode? That might be an interesting one.
Ooh. I mean, what was definitely interesting for me was the last episode, just because I was able to do some stuff in the editing, and that was kind of fun. It was also a lot of work, but yeah, it was interesting to have like the different images and stuff scrolling through, and then stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I, favorite episode, that is a hard one. I mean, the one with Paul was fun.
Yeah, our first guest episode.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting as well. It was the whole thing with the microphone setup and everything was a little bit weird, but I
Oh
guess
my
it I guess
god.
it worked out in the end. But yeah, I think we definitely need to maybe figure out some more stuff before we do the next guest, and yeah, like have
Oh,
it be even better.
100%, 100% agree on that one. Just yeah, we did. I did some testing before, or did we do that together? I think we did that together, right?
Yeah, yeah, we
And
did.
then at some point we called Paul in, and then basically, for lack of a better word, just shit hit the fan basically, and we couldn't get it working. So we had to
Yeah.
just like revert to the setup that we're using right now, and yeah, just kind of hope that it would work in editing. I mean, oh my god,
Yeah,
thinking
it was
about it now
yeah.
just gave me anxiety.
Yeah, it was definitely not the most professional setup that we had, but
Yep, exactly. But hey, that's the thing, right? Like that it might, like if we're looking at it objectively, it might give us not the best end result like in the end, but I like that kind of experimentation where
yeah.
you go into it, you do like, well, we did research and we did like planning, but then you don't know what's going to go wrong like in the moment. And it's that experience that really just helps you like grow. And I think that was really valuable with that episode.
No.
Because yeah, I definitely agree. Like we should do. Well, we're planning to do more like guest episode, right? But they're definitely more work than just like a normal episode between the two of us, which is
No.
something that I underestimated too.
Yeah, definitely. That was it was surprising to me as well how much that was like how much of a challenge that was.
Hmm. But yeah, and we should
Um
also like try to do something more like the last episode, which was a pretty interesting one with editing wise, right? Like
yeah.
if we maybe have like some B-roll or like some other pictures in the background or something. So that was really cool to see how you did that one. Um,
Did you have a like a favorite?
yeah, I'm thinking about it. I did enjoy our breakdown of like our old portfolio work. Even though
Oh, yeah, that was
we
good. That was fun.
even though we could have done maybe a better job with the editing, looking back now, like hindsight is 2020. We're just like
Hmm.
preparing for it a little bit better. But that was a pretty fun one. That was a
Yeah,
pretty fun
actually,
one.
maybe that is my favorite. That's a good point. That was a really fun one.
Because it's just so fun to look back at your older projects and then being like, oh my god, what the hell was I doing here? Like, what was I thinking?
Exactly. Yeah, that was a nice blast from the past.
And then I don't know, like maybe the horror games and immersion was also pretty interesting. The reason the reason why is just because Lloyd James from our Discord community keeps like um pushing horror games into our periphery just because he's like, oh, maybe William should play this horror
Not this
game.
again. Not this again.
uh, so that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that
But yeah,
was
man,
funny.
I'm uh I'm looking forward to the next year. I think we're definitely on a good track with this, and I'm having fun.
Yeah, there's some good stuff to come.
Oh yeah. All right. So what else? 2020. Um, yeah, I started Twitch streaming,
Yeah.
which is something that I wasn't really sure of in the beginning, but then once I started doing it and like again like all the organization in the background and like making overlays and then like engaging with people online was actually way more fun than I thought it would be, honestly. Because I thought it was, I don't know, like I don't know what I was expecting out of it, but then like seeing actual people come in and like engage with the content or like asking questions about what I was doing and then like explaining some 3D environment art stuff, right? It's
Right.
actually just pretty fun to engage with like people in that way.
Yeah, I mean
Uh
it's a whole new thing, right? It's completely different, I guess, from what we're doing right now. It's way more involved and active, I guess,
mhm.
because you constantly have this back and forth. You can react to the people and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I started with like the AMA Sunday. That's how it started. And then I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it would be cool to stream some art while I'm working on it. Because I was thinking about it this way, that I'm gonna be doing art anyway, so I might as well just do it live and then just talk to some people in the meantime.
Yeah.
And one cool side effect from that is that it keeps me pretty focused most of the time. I wasn't
Oh,
expecting
really?
that because normally you would think that Twitch is like distraction hell, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, when you have people actually watching the stuff that you're doing, you tend to be more focused and just like try to be more specific with the stuff that you're doing instead of
Oh,
like my workflow of just doing a little bit here and then doing a little bit there and then just jumping around. Like I tend to be more focused on like one thing.
right.
Like for example, yesterday I was working on ropes and then in the end I started sculpting candles and that was it. Whereas if I weren't to do that on stream, it would just be like jumping around between like all different kinds of stuff.
I guess, yeah, I guess because you kind of want to set a good example, right? That might have something to do with it. Because
Yeah, for sure.
you want to
Yeah.
show that, hey, you shouldn't jump around from thing to thing. You should just do something and finish it. And then you kind of want to, yeah. And yeah, I guess, yeah, that's something that you maybe when you're on your own working, you're just a little bit more, I don't know, you're in your own head and you're just thinking about whatever you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely a big part of it. And also, just like you said, just maybe I think you're right. It's part a part of it is definitely trying to set like a good example. But I think the other part is also just realizing how bad your workflow was, especially in my case. I was like, why
Right.
why the hell was I jumping around so much? Like if I just focus on stuff and try to at least get it to like a stage where I can just polish it later. I don't have to do that much work on it. Instead of leaving it like mid bake or something, right? Like, oh, the
Mm,
bake isn't working out. I'm just gonna jump to something else,
right.
something like that. That would probably happen to me. Where now it's like, okay, the bake doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Try to fix it, and then uh, get to like at least a usable end result in my scene, and then just then jump to something else.
Right. Yeah. I still need to I still need to finish my scene as well. Been a while. I started that when I was when I was still in Spain. That was
Oh
like
God.
1.5 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I obviously then didn't work on it for a while just because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
moved countries and whatever. But yeah, it's weird that you say that you've been so like when you're at work and then you turn off work, and you go into home mode, I guess, that you go straight to personal work. Because yeah, that's not been it for me at the start of it, at the start of the whole quarantine thing, maybe. But by now, it's really it's so hard for me to do anything personal workish at home
Hmm.
because yeah, I don't know because I mean I guess it's true, but I guess I do feel like okay, I've done my thing for today. Now it's my time, and there was something posted at work by someone, like an article about that exact phenomenon, and about like how sometimes you can feel like when you're at home, it's your time, or and you need to like you want to extend it as long as possible because you feel like you have to get the most out of it or something. I I don't know if you've seen it, but someone posted it in like the random channel or something, and it was exactly how I felt, like staying up longer and longer because you're like, oh yeah, I need to like this is my time. I need to take it. Like it's a
Yeah.
weird psychological thing, I guess. And yeah, that's what happened to me. It was like just like I I really didn't play that many video games before 2020 anymore. Like here and there. Um, but then I started like I pretty much started playing all the games that I had played before and like seeing if I'm still good at them, and then just playing them way too much. Like first with the
Tarkov.
yeah, first with Counter Strike, like that was the first one, Because like years ago I had been like the second highest rank, and now I wanted to be the highest rank, so I played that for months. Then I switched over to Tarkov. Then I got like everything in Tarkov pretty much that you can get,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I started playing Hearthstone again. Um, I haven't reached Legend again yet, and I think I might not want to, just because, man, that reminded me how much of a shit show Hearthstone can be. It's such a random game. Dude, it's such a random game.
I've never
It's
played
crazy.
it. I think
Oh,
I
I played it
played
so
it on
much.
like a friend's PC just once, just to try it out because he was
Right.
really addicted to it when it came out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll give it a shot. It looks pretty cool though, like all the animations of the cards and all that stuff. But and yeah, there's something about card games because I used to play Magic, so
Right.
I think there's still like that physical aspect that I need when it comes to card games.
Interesting. Yeah, I collected some cards, but I never actually played card games
Yeah.
as a kid. But yeah. Oh man, old Hearthstone. What I would give to have that back, like 2015 Hearthstone, because all the cards change and they rotate out and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And oh, it's dude, some of the stuff that's happening now, it's so dumb. All the
Oh,
cards are like,
nostalgia goggles.
yeah, man. Oh, good dude. Fucking good old Dr. Broom days. Whoo, that was the days. Yeah, but it's actually crazy how much I played so much. I played so many video games this year, and I played them a lot. And then Cyberpunk came out, Ghost of Tsushima came out. All that stuff.
Oh,
I
some good
really,
games, man.
yeah. I like, I don't know, when I played so much. I'm probably playing more now than in my high school days, just because I'm staying up longer. It's crazy.
But this is always a question that it inevitably leads up to, right? With like a lot of artists, especially um, the younger people out there. Do you feel bad about that? Do you feel bad
Uh
about playing games?
I mean, kind of and kind of not, because I feel like I've done my job. I've done what I need to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm good. But then also, I would like to keep working on my personal project, and I wanted to, I don't know, to keep going. Like, I want to just finish it because I'm really excited about it, and I really want to see what it turns into. But I just can't bring myself to do it so much anymore. It's yeah,
Hmm.
it's for me, it's like kind of the opposite of you. For me, it's like when I turn off my VPN and I'm done with work, then I'm done with work, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
I think I don't know. Like, first of all, like there should be nothing to feel bad about, right? Because I mean, it's like you said, you did your work, and if you're comfortable with that, that should be all you need, right? Like there
yeah,
shouldn't be like this higher, I don't know, this higher power. I don't know if that's like a good wording for this, but like a higher power like holding you accountable for like, oh, you need to do personal work now because
yeah,
we're in the industry, right? Like we're still building up our skill set. So
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous at one side that we have this, but then when it comes uh to why I do so much personal work, I think it's just because I started to love the creation process more than I love the experience process, if that makes sense. Because
Interesting. Yeah,
like I love creating my own worlds. Like that's what I really love. And like it took me a while to realize that over time. But the more and more like especially compared to the last couple of years, I saw this balance like gradually switch between like exploring games from like being more in love with exploring games towards like building my own kind of explorations basically.
right. Mm.
So I think there's something to that. Um and I don't know. Look, this is just me thinking out loud, right? Maybe some people don't really have that sense of like, look, I need to create all the time. Maybe it's fine to just
Yeah,
let go. Because I also don't feel bad when I play games. And I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk because I'm just like, look, this is I mean, this Cyberpunk specifically is such a good example of what like a really intricately built and like interesting world can be if done well, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the thing is, the more I play, the more I feel like I want to create, right? Like playing Cyberpunk has been like, yeah, for me it's been definitely like, oh man, this is so cool, especially like the Japantown and stuff, because
Oh man.
I'm still doing the Tokyo street, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, of course it's a different thing. But it still it made me think of what I was doing, right? And I was like, oh man, I really need to finish that. I really because I am really really excited about it, but yeah, I just can't bring myself to do it right now.
Hmm.
But I mean that's the thing, right? I'm like, yeah, at some point I'm gonna finish it, so I feel good about it. I like there's no rush for me right now.
Yeah,
There's other
exactly.
stuff that I want to that I want to do first. So yeah,
Exactly. And I can 100% agree, man. Like I've been having the same feeling with Cyberpunk. Like it reinvigorated like my creative spirit. I've been
no,
in like a creative high for like a couple of weeks now, I think. And like
yeah, that's cool.
Cyberpunk has been like a good help with that. And yeah, even though I'm doing like a medieval scene right now, right? Which is like the polar opposite of like cyberpunk aesthetic, possibly.
Mm.
But yeah, it's still just the detail that they put into that world and just like the thought and the care and yeah, I mean, it's such a good and well organized world. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. There was a new Tarkov vibe, so you know, I'm playing that again.
I was waiting on it. I was like, what is he gonna say?
Yeah, on Christmas Day actually, or I guess it's Christmas Eve. I don't know. I get confused by American and English Christmas.
Hmm.
On the 24th, on German Christmas, uh, on Heiligabend, um, there was a wipe. So all the stuff, everybody lost their shit and everyone's level 0 again. So that kind of makes it exciting because I had like 70 million rubles. I had everything that I could want. So
Yeah.
now they updated the game. There's a lot of new stuff it seems, and it's all starting from the bottom. So that you know, I'm, I'm playing it again.
We should have like this San Andreas meme in the background, like, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna play as much again. It's just it's I grinded it so much
Yeah.
last time, so it's just gonna be every now and then thing for me. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like when this is what I'm worried about with Cyberpunk too, that I played the game so much that even if they push out some really good DLC like in the future, I might not go back to it.
Because you've seen it all before, kind of.
Yeah, like I haven't definitely haven't seen it all because again, like the world has so many interesting spaces that are not really relevant to anything, but they're still like fully dressed up and all that stuff, right? So there's still like tons of options.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is kind of that where it's like you're never gonna get that first experience back.
of
And it's like,
course.
maybe yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But that's also when talking about Tarkov or anything like that, when there would be like a server wipe like that, I would always be like, okay, what's the point of this? Like play until like the next wipe and then start all over again. I
Yeah,
think
it's. I guess it's because I don't know. At least for me, it kind of lost its edge at some point because Tarkov is so much about that frustration and about losing stuff and about having like being scared of losing stuff.
oh yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
that when I have 70 million rubles and my full inventory full of like literally full of the best gear that's possible to have, it's still a fun shooter game, but at that point I might as well just play Call of Duty because it's just a shooter game that takes longer to get into a game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, like the core
it's
element is gone.
yeah, it's fun for the start because you're like, oh man, I'm so rich, I have all this cool stuff, but then kind of gets
Hmm.
lost.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, talking about that, I mean, talking about this, I think I already know your answer. But favorite game 2020?
Let me think about that. What is it? What did I play for 800 hours? Hmm. I wonder.
Must be
All
Minecraft
I
or something.
all I will say is Opachki. I don't even know what that means. It's just something that scavs say sometimes. But yeah, it's the Tarky Tarky.
Maybe we'll have to bleep that out. Who knows? Maybe it's like
Maybe it's
really
like
profane or something.
yeah, some really bad slurs, and I think it's just like hello,
Oh,
not
really?
hello. I think that, well, like some kind of weird greeting. I think it's like an obscure. I think. I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't know either. But yeah.
Yeah. What is your favorite game then? Is it Tsushima? Is it Cyberpunk? Is it something else?
Man, I think it has to be Cyberpunk. Like even with
Yeah.
all the bugs and all, right? The story just had me completely in its grips.
Yeah, that's cool,
Um
man.
yeah, and it's kind of weird, right? Because like the man, we talked about this before, right? But I don't think wait, did we talk about like how the news cycle surrounding Cyberpunk is making it seem like a super bad game, even though it's not really? Like, I don't know. Kind of feel about
I
that these
mean,
days.
and it's kind of keeping going. And there's like a class action lawsuit now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We talked about this in the previous episode, right? We talked
Yeah,
almost like
but
2 hours about it. So
yeah, we could have kept going too. Actually, we did kind of. We like, for everyone who listened to the last episode, we kind of kept talking for half an hour after that, just because we couldn't stop talking about this game.
well, yeah. The only reason why we stopped is because we were both hungry, like
Yeah,
literally.
yeah, exactly.
Because right now, when we recorded that podcast episode, I hadn't finished the game, right? So I didn't like appreciate the entire storyline just yet.
Yeah,
I mean, we could easily do like another episode on that. Like
yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah.
I've been even thinking about like doing some kind of episode on my own and just I don't know breaking down like the world of cyberpunk or something like that. Like not in a podcast format, but like I don't know. It
On
has that.
one of your Twitch streams, maybe, or something.
Yeah, like it had that big of an impact where I'm just like, look, I feel like I need to do something here. Like I don't know if you know that feeling, but it's like, look, this is so good. I need to kind of shout it from the rooftops, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why I talked about Tarkov every episode of this podcast. It feels like.
Oh shit. Oh, but
But yeah,
it's
no, I know what you mean. Sometimes you need to tell people about something because you want to experience it. You want them to experience it as well.
yeah. Ah, man, I've been watching some Twitch streamers like play the ending of Cyberpunk and then them seeing it like, oh, a pretty good game, and I'm like, no, no, you haven't experienced it fully, and just like getting mad. um, I don't know why. It's probably like the combination of like a really just like a really new place to visit, like something that hasn't been explored fully in games yet, like cyberpunk, just as a style, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've seen it in other games, right? But this is probably like the most expansive look into like the cyberpunk genre that you can get in games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing, right? It's just this whole world that you can dive into. But yeah, let's not talk about Cyberpunk another episode.
exactly. But I was thinking about like other games that I played this year because
Yeah.
you brought up Ghost of Tsushima, and that was a really good one as well. I enjoyed that one. Just again, like a really good art style, right? And like how all the things really flow together in that.
Yeah.
And we also did a podcast episode about that one.
Yeah, we did.
um, yeah, what about other games? What other games have I been playing? Like
Have you even
Phasmophobia, I
played
played.
any?
Yeah, like Phasmophobia. I played like a bunch of like smaller games, right?
Right.
That were just like popping up for a bit, like Among Us and like Phasmophobia, just like checking
Oh
out the
man.
mechanics basically. It was pretty fun for like a game or two, and then it's like, okay. I can see what this game has to offer now. Basically, it's more like really good experiences. Um, Other than that, what was another big game that I played this year? I don't really tend to play that many games actually. Now thinking about it.
Right. I mean, yeah, I did play a little bit of Among Us. That's a fun game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with
It's
like
fun to lie to your friends.
yeah. I was just about to say, like if you have like a bunch of scumbag friends, then you should be good to go.
Yeah, the best.
It's kind of crazy how that game exploded too.
I mean,
It was
isn't it like the perfect game for something like a quarantine? Because people that don't usually play games. Like I played with so many like friends of people or girlfriends of people or like people that don't usually play, but now they're like, I mean, I guess I don't have anything else to do, so and it's kind of an easy game to get into, I guess.
yeah. That's true. It's like super easy to get into.
Yeah.
Um, what else did I play? Let's have a look at my Steam. Um, oh, Risk of Rain 2. That's
I
actually
haven't even heard of that.
it is that is probably like the most grindy game that I play. It's like what is that genre called? Like a roguelike?
Oh, roguelike, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like you do one run and you collect like a bunch of random items that give you like random powers, and based on those random powers, you become stronger. So you basically create like a completely new character like every run. Um, but that is a game that I just love to play like in the evening, where it's like okay, like I have the time to play for like an hour or something, and I'll just do one run before I go to sleep.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, Hades is like that, right, as well.
oh yeah, I haven't
I
I
think
haven't
so.
played that.
No, me neither, but I heard that it's great. But I don't know if it's like my kind of game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it is because with roguelikes, I get the same thing that we just discussed about Tarkov, right? Where it's like I need some sort of progression, like some sort of meta progression to keep me hooked. Because if it's just like, oh, you do a run and then you lose everything, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what's the point? I always get to that point. But yeah, man, it's been a good year when it comes to games. I've been satisfied.
I mean, yeah. I guess game wise, it's definitely been a good year just because everyone's had time for it too, right? Like
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, like I said, I really didn't play that much before, and now it's yeah, I played so much too.
Just like the slight guilt creeping in there in that
A
sentence.
little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, as long as my apartment's clean and my job's done, I don't feel too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little bit.
So, what about 2021, man? You
Ooh.
got anything that you I mean, we talked about this before, right? We don't want to make it really into a New Year's resolution, even though we're probably going to anyway.
Yeah, we're probably going to.
So what about it, man?
Yeah, I do. I just, I just want to keep dropping some weight. All that stuff. Probably like a lot of people. Um. Uh. And
I
what
tried that
else?
this year, but it didn't really work out for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like while most people probably gained weight in the quarantine, I lost some. Because it was like right at the start where when I like it was like in February when I realized, hey man, I need to do something. I need to just get back on the train, lose some weight, and yeah, it happened at the perfect time because otherwise, yeah, I think it would have been the same as a lot of other people, just like just like eating to keep busy or something. I don't know. At least that's what I heard from some other people that they just kind of they don't have anything to do. They can't go out, so they just eat something.
I don't really get that. Well, I get why people do it, right? But it's
Yeah,
like I personally don't really get that when I'm just like eating just out of boredom.
yeah,
It's more that I'm a big fan of food, man. I
Well,
just like food. There's no two ways
yeah,
about it.
me definitely, me too. Yeah,
And I also
but
love to take the
yeah,
time to cook, and then I usually cook way too much, so then you eat way too much, and then it's just
yeah,
like perpetual cycle of food.
yeah. That sounds about right. Definitely, definitely had that happen before as well a couple of times. But yeah, now I just I do the like the intermittent fasting thing, and yeah, just try to pace myself, and I pretty much no carbs. That's like the big deal for me. Like I know from myself that yeah, when I just cut out the carbs, I don't even really have to do any physical activity, which is nice, so I can keep playing video games. Um, but yeah, like that's the main thing for me. I guess it's a little bit different for everyone, right? Like there's some general rules, but then you kind of have to figure out what works for you. And
Mhm.
that's the big thing for me is just who would have thought just not eating as much. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to, and slowly making progress in that. I think
Nice.
carbs is a big one, man.
Yeah,
Um, I
definitely.
I just love my pasta.
Oof.
I
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, for me it's like the I just like bread as well, dude. I'm a German boy to the
Yeah,
core. I love
I
bread.
was just about to say it. Give me some bread and potatoes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Oh, so do you have like a well, I guess a not resolution? Do you have some plans for 2021? Maybe for beyond extent in general or in general?
Um, yeah, like in general, I wanna focus a bit more on art. I think 2020, I've also realized that I have a lot of ideas, and I keep floating and bouncing like a lot of ideas that I want to execute on, but then at some point I always realize that I don't really want to do it. Like for
Hmm.
example, there's like a lot of cool ideas that I was floating about for the next year of Beyond Extend, right? Where it would be cool to have like weekly classes or something, or just to set up
Yeah.
like even more articles than I'm doing now. But then there's always this part of me like just like honestly like the reaching out and like keeping track of all that stuff is something that just doesn't interest me at all. Like, and that's something that I'll need to figure out a way around that.
Right.
Maybe talk to someone else that can maybe help me out with that, because I think it would bring value to like the community, right? Just imagine having people like doing like little classes, like maybe once a month or like maybe more. So it would be good to start that up. But then I don't really want to sacrifice too much of my own time, especially with still doing like a full-time job too, right? And I'm already
Yeah.
doing like a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know. That's something I've been really thinking of how I'm gonna handle that in 2021. So
Yeah. I mean,
that's
that's managing your time is definitely like you need to make sure that you have enough time for yourself. Obviously, you want to get your job done at work, but
mhm.
it's important that you don't go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also where instead of all that stuff, like I just had to really reflect on what I really wanted to do like personally. And I think it always comes down to like just do more art and just build like new worlds and build like interesting scenes that I'm really passionate about.
No.
And then the rest of it is still going to be interesting, and I'm still going to pursue that, but it feels to me like it's more like I need to do that instead of like I want to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would definitely see like my personal work, I never see that as work. Whereas if I want to organize like Discord classroom sessions or whatever, like that is more work than it is
Yeah. Sure.
actual fun.
I mean,
But
yeah.
yeah.
It's I guess that's something that I want to do maybe as well. Maybe as a New Year's quote unquote resolution is yeah. I mean, I'd love to finish my Japan scene. Who knows if I will, but that would be cool.
Well, you're getting so
No,
close
no,
to
no
the end
pressure,
result
no pressure.
already.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's actually not. I mean, it's always with the 80/20 rule. There's still a lot of stuff to do, but I've definitely. I mean, I did get some big stuff done this year, so it's not like I didn't do anything.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I'm
I'm getting
confident
there
that you can
slowly.
finish it next year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, especially from the
Wait,
stuff
wait.
that
If this
I've
comes
been
out, if
seeing.
this comes out, in 2021, then finishing it next year means in 2022. So I've got time. That's fine.
God damn it! Already giving excuses, man. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
Well, I can't even edit it because you do the editing here. So,
Yes.
damn it.
I will
Oh, but
silence you.
just cut out this entire section.
Yes.
Yeah, I think 2021 is going to be an interesting one. I
It's
I
gonna be
do.
interesting to see what happens with the world, man. What's
Uh,
gonna change?
yeah.
You know. I mean, it seems like it's going. Going to a direction where maybe the world is going to be kind of back to normal at the end of 2021. Maybe, probably not yet, but kind of. I don't know.
Well,
It's
yeah, they're rolling out vaccines, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe at some point in the next year we can go out freely again.
Who
I just
knows?
want
That
to
would
I
be
just want to be like really careful with what I say here because I was about to say like without a mask, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
yeah. That it's. I mean, who know? I guess nobody knows what's gonna happen, right? It keeps there keeps new stuff keeps popping up, and obviously it's not easy to send out vaccines to everyone at the same time, and or well, not at the same time, but at like a good rate. And I mean, I guess
Imagine
we
the
we don't.
logistics behind it.
Yeah, I
Fuck,
can't
was
even.
it so
It's. I mean,
crazy?
yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, to be honest, it's actually crazy to see how our world kind of has adapted to it, right? Like, um,
Yeah.
uh, it's actually I feel like it's gonna be so weird when it's all over, and then like in like 5 years you'll still find some kind of sticker somewhere that says wait here, stay 2 meters apart, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or if it's gonna still be in everyone's mind, right? Like I could even see people on public transport in the future just riding with a mask on, just because in especially in winter season, people have the flu. It's not COVID, but it's. I mean, I guess if you don't want to get sick, you might as well put on a mask in the train.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might even do it. It's like, yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna think differently about some things.
Yeah.
And yeah, work from home. We already talked about that. Maybe that's gonna become more of a staple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when talking about like masks and how how we're gonna adapt, right? Like I was super surprised by just how like quickly we adapted to like working from home and like wearing masks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I hear people talking about like the new normal or like going back to normal. That's what they really want. But
Mm.
I think we're not gonna go back to normal, right? Like this is like you said, like we've adapted. Like this is the new normal. Like not the
Yeah. I mean, there's.
situation that we're in currently, but like in like a couple of months when we have like vaccines that are readily available,
Yeah.
and we probably still be wearing masks because you never know that someone is asymptomatic and um is like on public transport without a mask. You never know, right? So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna see more and more of it.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be really interesting to see how long of an impact it will have. If it's something that will change the way we live as like forever. I guess. If like I said, like you know, people are going to be wearing masks a lot more, or like just in general, people are going to be more conscious of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or if yeah, in 5 years, it's going to be like, oh, remember that little thing that we had? Because I don't think so. Mm. And yeah, or if it's or if because, but a lot of people are like, I feel like are very like there's trends and fads and they go away, and maybe obviously this isn't the trend, but um still, like, maybe people are going to be more conscious for a couple of years after it, and then everyone will just be like, okay, now back to normal,
Hmm.
back to the old normal, not the new normal. But yeah, I probably think that it will have a lasting impact that will probably change the way that we conduct ourselves forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so too. We'll have to see because
I mean, I guess we're not the
obviously,
most qualified people
yeah.
to talk about this, but
I was just about to
just
say we're not doctors anyway, so don't trust anything what comes out of our mouths.
yeah, just we just make video games, people. But yeah, I guess it's still super interesting to think about that, just because yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Like, I also wonder, yeah, like what we talked about before, are we gonna just be working from home? Because I'd like that, at least for, it maybe it depends on the project you're working on if you can really work from home that well, but
Hmm.
it's something that I can see myself doing. It's fun, it's nice, as long as maybe yeah, you then have the possibility to still go to the office on some days, or I don't know, just meet with your friends and go to a bar like you used to.
Yeah, or like even not go to the main office, right? Or like go to like smaller offices in like if we're talking about Berlin, for example, like
Yeah.
have four offices that are more spread out throughout the.
Oh, really?
uh
Is that a consideration?
No, no, I don't think Ubisoft is currently thinking about that, but I do
Ah,
know that other companies are thinking about a solution like that, where say if you really
interesting.
want to adapt to working from home, and there's there's like a couple of people in our studio too that have just left for other countries, even though there's some considerations when it comes to that, right? But it would be cool
Yeah.
if, say, for example, I want to keep working for Ubisoft Berlin, but then I do want to go back to Belgium, for example, that I can
Hmm.
still that I can still work in Belgium with like
Yeah.
maybe my own PC or like a local office that has been like that is like set up as a shared office or something, and that has been
Right.
vetted
Hmm.
by Ubisoft. That would be kind of interesting too.
Like an in-house outsourcing.
Yeah, or like WeWork. I don't know if you know the concept from WeWork, where they basically have just offices all over the world, and you can rent like an office space,
Hmm.
something like that.
Yeah. Right.
And then maybe if you have like some local game development people that you can still get together with, and maybe from different companies, right? So that there
Yeah.
could be like a game dev office in Belgium, for example, where um, 10 to 15 people, like a mix of freelancers and people working from companies, like all get together and like get lunch together or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
I mean, that's gonna be like a whole NDA situation, but
Well, yeah, yeah, well, obviously, like if you're doing the work, you're probably sitting in like a booth by yourself anyway. But
no.
when it comes to just like getting lunch together and all that stuff, it would still, because that is probably like the main consideration, right? Like if you're working from home, it's sort of more like freelance where people are looking for other ways to get social contact again, where a lot of freelancers do it in a way where they go to like their local coffee shop and just to be
Right.
surrounded by people and like at least get a little bit of social interaction. Because yeah, like working from home like fully without ever going into the office and talking to the people wouldn't also be something for me. Like I would still love to have that personal contact with the people that you're working with on a project.
Yeah. 100%. There is definitely something to that, especially some like if you're working on some specific things, you kind of need that. You need to have like the meetings and
Yeah.
talk to people. It's not because it's not the whole planning and some and stuff around that might even be more important than doing the work itself. So
Hmm.
that means yeah, it's even more important to have like a steady line of communication that maybe in some other departments it's not as much. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
guess it kind of I guess it's kind of going to depend, right, on what you're working on. If you want to be working at home in the future or not, like maybe you can choose, right? I don't know. It's
Yeah, and then also I'm curious about the financial benefits of it too. Where if you
yeah.
choose to work more from home, like are you gonna get like, I don't know, I'm just naming some stuff here, right? Some like financial benefits from like the government or from the studio because you're not making use of their power output and their PCs, but you're just using
Uh,
like your personal PC.
I mean,
And then
I guess you are with the remote desktop situation, right? If you were using something like that to work from home, I guess you are
yeah,
using the power,
that's
but
true.
yeah, it depends. It depends on how it's gonna. If it's like a long term solution, who knows how it's gonna be implemented? But I mean,
Hmm.
even like I know that my dad's company, it's not games related at all, but just bringing it up because he had the possibility to work from home as well, and now they're actually changing to a smaller office now because
Oh, okay.
um like a lot of the people are just gonna keep working from home even after everything is hopefully over. um so yeah, it's just like they just moved a big part of the staff to pretty much permanently work from home, or like maybe they're gonna do it in shifts, like some days these people are gonna be in the office and some people these, I think something like that. So it's actually really interesting that they're already like cutting down on costs by just pretty much like renting a smaller space, even though they still have the same amount of people working there.
Hmm. Yeah, I would expect a lot of companies to do that, where
Yeah,
they figure out like maybe a rotation system where, say you have multiple teams, like three
yeah,
teams, like one team comes in like the first week of the month, one team comes in the second week of the month, and then and so on. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows?
yeah.
I think what it's gonna do is it's gonna open like a whole new, well, definitely like a whole new way of thinking, but like a whole new wave of like experimentation to figure out like the best kind of system to balance like the productivity of the people working
Mhm.
and their balance with like working from home. So it's definitely going to be interesting how that's going to work in the future.
Sure, yeah,
But yeah, man, I'm all for it. I've been enjoying work from home, honestly.
yeah, same. I mean, it's it like I am. It's weird. Like I don't know if I still don't really know if I'm an introvert or an extrovert because I do like talking to new, like I like meeting new people.
Hmm.
But I guess I'm an introvert in the way that I like. For me, it's really it can be really draining to be in social situations a lot of the
Yeah.
time. So I need to like be alone to recharge my batteries. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been nice for me personally. It's just like it's been really relaxed in that way. I've had a lot of time for myself and just kind of, you know, yeah, just doing what I like to do. Like I've actually like that's actually something that I guess I never really talked about. Um, I've gotten back into like making music a little bit, so it's not like I'm only playing video games all the time at home, right? Um, I've got like a MIDI keyboard and a drum pad and stuff, so I just I dabble around, make some tunes. Not like
Oh yeah.
yeah, not like to actually make music, but just to make something that I like, just to have some fun, just to like freestyle, right? And then maybe I'll play my saxophone over it or something. Just yeah, it's just some random stuff. So yeah, I guess you as long as I kind of can be creative in some way, I'm happy. So yeah, maybe that's why I haven't been working on my personal work as much. I don't know.
Hmm.
Coming back to that,
No, I think it's good, man. It's good to have like other outlets of like
definitely.
creativity, because if we're talking about that stuff anyway, a thing that I've been doing, or I did like in the beginning of 2020, I think, was build like my own hydroponic setup. Like I have like
Right.
a little closet space, right? And I was just like experimenting with like how to basically automate like the growth of like now we have like tomato plants, some basil growing, like some strawberries, and like all in
Yeah, I
just like a
remember that.
little closet space, which is pretty interesting. Like it's far from optimal, like the way that I've set it up, and I realize that now, so I'm already thinking about like version 2.0 of this, which
Right.
is Yeah, it's just something else, something like completely different that just um keeps you busy. And I think music is like a really good one.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, I did it before, right? With like just doing some like editing in my free time as well. But yeah, music for me is like the perfect thing as well, just because it's where I can kind of just be free and do whatever I like to do. Because I like music, and I can be kind of like I don't. That's the thing. I don't have something that I'm working towards. Kind of. It's not about having a finished song in the end or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
about making music. Putting down a beat, and then I can still open it some other time, and then completely change it, and then just take my keyboard and just play something over it, just because it's fun. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's like it's nice
But
not
I
having that feeling of that's my job. It's just a
yes,
hobby.
yeah. I think that's super important. Just have that one thing where it's just purely for the love of it. And
Yeah.
that's I think that's also you hit up a really good point because that's how I see my personal work as well. Like I don't know where my personal work is gonna end. Like I'm
Mm,
building a scene right now, but I have like no end goal in mind. Like I'm just having fun with this. I'm just creating stuff that I wanna create.
that's
I'm
cool.
having I'm having fun with like simulations for the first time. I'm simulating like fucking potatoes like falling on the floor to create like little piles of potatoes and like simulating like bigger piles to make like tidal balls and like just like experimenting with like a bunch of random stuff.
Right.
Um and yeah, that's also like I'm doing that with my personal work and then also with the hydroponic setup where that doesn't really have a goal. Like there's no goal attached to that. Like I'm just having fun with like experimenting and like figuring out like the best way of working. And
And in the end,
then
you have some tasty tomatoes.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And there's
Yeah.
like I mean there's like a bunch of stuff gone wrong with it. Like you have to be pretty precise with like the acidity of the water and like how much food you put into the water and stuff. And I fucked up my plants like more times than I can count at this point.
Mhm. But then did you get new ones or did they recover? I don't even know how that works.
Sometimes they do recover, but sometimes we just have to cut them down. Like the tomato plants that we had in the beginning, they had like some yellow growth on it. So I'm
Mm.
thinking with the setup, well the leaves just turned yellow basically.
Right.
So I'm thinking that with the setup that I have, which is completely fucked up in a way, is I'm just drowning the roots.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, maybe that could be it. So that's why I'm thinking like in version 2.0, I'll do it in a more traditional way, like that they used to set up systems like this. Because I was like, oh my god, like over engineering it until a point where it doesn't really work anymore.
Right. Okay.
Because there's basically like, I think there's like 3 or 4 systems that are like basically the standard in like hydroponics.
Hmm.
So you could have like a little bit of water going down a tube that touches the roots so that they still get enough air, but they need a little bit of water. And or you could go like the completely different route where you just like have a sitting tank with like lots of water in it and then you just let the roots grow into it. But I'm doing like a combination of the two and it doesn't really work out, but
Mm.
that's the thing. Like I'm having fun with just experimenting with it. And then if it doesn't work out, I'll build like version 2.0. And if that doesn't work out, I'll build like version 3.0. Like it's
Right.
just having fun with it again.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
This is a hydroponics podcast now, by the way,
Yep, exactly.
for anyone listening.
We should call this Tarkov and hydroponics.
Yes. Yeah. And then just talk about that all day. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely it's great to have that outlet. I mean, I totally agree. It's awesome to just have something that's not your job, and even though I like doing it, it's still great to have something completely different. It's nothing to do with it. Just yeah, because
Yeah.
that can help with that. I think maybe that's why we started doing it more now, because you have that separation then, right? Because you're not doing the same thing. You're not. I'm not in the same software. I'm in something completely different.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just really good to have something that completely separates you. Like also
Yeah.
just a lot of people do that with workouts, right? Because a workout is usually so intense that it completely switches off your brain of thinking, or like even having the possibility of thinking about 3D at
Right.
that point.
Yeah.
So that's why that's like a workout is so good mentally for you, because it just like completely resets that.
True.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I think I'm excited for 2021. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see more art. Well, especially from my side, right? Like I'm just talking about myself. Just more art and probably like more resources that I'm going to push out too. Like hopefully finally get to grips with like tutorial creation, or find
Mm.
like a good way of like making a bit more tutorials. And then yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that
Yeah.
ends up.
I guess what's a good what's a good way we can like send people off into the new year? What can you think of? What's a good ending? You just want to give people like, I don't know. Just want to wish people good luck. Do you want to give them a tip? I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Like how should we end it? Like maybe we could make it like our top 3 tips for artists in the next year or something.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right.
let's do it one by one.
Okay.
Um
You go
so
first.
yeah,
I have to think of one.
yeah, me too. um it would I tend to always go with like the first one is just having fun with it. Like have fun with the project that you're doing. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
completely
agree with that at all. You should force yourself to do your work all the time, just like I do. No, just kidding. Yes. Yeah. That's a good I mean, yeah, that's the good first rule. I think the second one would be for me would be something along the lines of just you don't have to list you don't have to actually do everything that people give you as feedback, but you should listen to all of the feedback. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like listen to it, but you don't necessarily need to do it, but at least hear what they're saying, and if they're trying to help you, like just try and see what they're trying to tell you, and maybe trust them that they know more than you if they, if they have any qualifications
Hmm.
that they do know more than you.
Yeah,
And
it's like taking on the feedback but cherry picking what you actually implement.
yeah, sometimes you just don't have the time, or maybe you're not going for the best. You're just going for something that you want to do, right? Like I've done that before. I've been like, yeah, I guess I could do it like this, but I don't want to. I want to do it my way, which is
Hmm.
fair. At least in a personal work environment. Let's just say,
Oh yeah.
like if you're at work, then yeah, don't tell your lead artist, no, I'm not gonna do it like this because I want to do it my way. That's not gonna work.
Imagine, man. Just be
Yeah,
like, maybe I'll think about it.
yeah, exactly.
um,
And then yeah.
do we each want to do 3 or just 3 in total? Maybe we
Let's
do.
do three in total because I think we're gonna have a hard time thinking of more. At least I will.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Maybe if you come up with one extra, maybe you don't
Sure,
have to,
sure,
right?
sure.
But the one that I was thinking of is, especially when talking to like a lot of people that are really trying to do their best creating their art, is focus on finishing stuff instead of trying to make it perfect.
Mm,
That would definitely
yeah,
be like my recommendation.
yeah. And I think I've said something before that was like my best tip that I could give you, but I don't know if I even know that anymore. I should listen to the old episodes back. But I mean, I guess what I think is there's so many ways to get where you want to go, right? You can go a lot of different paths, and you kind of need to find the one that's right for you. But if you do, if even if it takes you, a couple years longer than you might want to, like, or might have wanted to, you have to, if you really want to be a 3D artist or whatever, right? I guess this applies to anything. But then if you keep that goal in mind and always work towards it, maybe you have to take another job because you need to, pay your rent, right? But then keep pushing in your personal, in your free time, maybe listen to talks, listen to do tutorials, this and that, and just if you keep doing it, then you'll definitely get there at some point. If you put enough dedication and passion in there, then you'll get there. I mean, I guess it's kind of a cheesy thing, but it's true. I mean, at least from what I've seen, like all the people that maybe didn't get where they wanted to, either just aren't there yet, that I've met at least, or maybe they just didn't want it enough. I mean, it's maybe I don't know, maybe I'm making it a little bit too easy. Maybe they just had some bad luck here and there, but at least from what I've seen, that's been the two things.
Yeah.
They're either still on their way or yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's there's like a lot of perseverance that comes with this, that you just need to follow along, follow your own path. Even like if you want to make it like really cliche, right? Like it's follow your own path to your dreams. But
Yeah.
it is
But
kind of
it's
true
yeah,
though.
it's like yeah, I've had some people from university that yeah, it took them an extra year or two, but they still got their job now, and they're in the industry or whatever, right? So it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's like is it really that bad if you need to wait 2 more years, but then you can do what you love? I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree, man. All right. These are some good tips to start the new year with, right? And since we're launching this at the like the new year already, right?
Yeah.
We wish you all a happy new year, and I hope you had
Yes.
some great holidays too.
Yeah. I guess yeah, we didn't even talk about that, but that's fine. um, but yeah, happy New Year, and I wish that your 2021 may be way better than the last one, because how could it be worse? That's gonna be my motto. How
How
could
could
it
it be
be
worse?
worse? That's gonna be the official motto for 2021. By the way, I saw a meme that was pretty funny that said, "How can you be happy that 2020 is ending if the name of the next year is literally 2021?" Right? Like it
God damn
won. The year 2020 won. It won over us. We lost.
Oh man, you want to end it on a meme?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but
Sounds
actually,
good.
I do want to take the time to just like thank everyone for listening and
Oh yeah.
really just making this happen, right? I don't think we ever really did that in this way, but
Yeah, it's
I'm
always we
really
always say it, but it can feel like just a phrase, right? It's
yeah.
actually yeah, thank you for actually being there and listening.
Yeah, exactly. Like this has been just really awesome to see come together, and like all the people that have reached out and just mentioned that, oh, I love this episode, I love this what you mentioned here. Like it's really
Yeah.
amazing to hear all that stuff, and I hope
Yeah.
we can provide like some really good listening in 2021.
Yeah. It's really cool to see. Like I'm not really active on the Discord much, or on any Discord for that matter, but whenever I look through, and it's really cool to see whatever's going on. And yeah, that like some people even feel like it's worth paying for, with the Patreon stuff. It's that's really awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for being there, I guess. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks so much for listening, everyone, and have a good 2021.
Bye bye.
See ya. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you did, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share it with your friends. If you're an environment artist trying to break into the industry, or just looking to grow your skills, you can find a ton more resources like weekly tips, blog posts, and more on beyondextend.com. But that's going to do it from our side. Thanks so much for joining us, and a shout out to all of our Patreon supporters who made this possible.